Okay. Okay. Hopefully you guys are
We are.
seeing that now.
Ooh, it's
Can you see
coming
that
up.
okay?
Yes, now we can. Thank you.
Sweet. Okay. So I'm here to talk to you about the Canyon District and the River Patrol. So my name is Lisa Hendy. I am the Canyon District Ranger. That means I'm in charge of the Canyon District Rangers. All of them are over the entire canyon, and I'm hoping to give you guys a little bit of background. But first, to introduce myself a little better. I was here for 7 years. From 2005 to about 2012. I know several of you. It was good to see some of you on this call. I was here as a law enforcement ranger. I was in charge of the Phantom Ranch area for a while. I was one of the flight medics pretty regularly for the park. So I know you can't see my face, but you'll see my picture in some of these slides. And I'm really excited to be back. I left and went to Yosemite as the emergency manager. Big Bend is the chief, the Great Smoky Mountains, the chief ranger, and decided I liked being in the canyon. So just came back here in October, and everybody's been crazy welcoming, and I'm very grateful. So thanks for having me. So let's talk about the Canyon District and the River Patrol that we are blessedly bringing back after a hiatus. And I'm super excited to be a part of stabilizing this program and getting it back out there for to serve all of you guys. So moving on from there, the River Patrol used to be its own district, but what they did was they moved it up underneath Canyon District, which was always the rest of the backcountry. So everything below the rim is Canyon District. When fully staffed, we have 15 rangers. We only have a couple of them that are dedicated to being boatmen signed off on larger craft. And so we'll introduce those guys here to you in just a minute. Our purpose as the Canyon District Rangers is to protect this resource, first and foremost, to provide others education to help protect it, so ensure the visitors understand, just like you guys. And I hope that you'll recognize some of your purpose in some of this. Provide safety and assistance to anybody out there, and this we're in the canyon, not just on the river. And then provide support as just mean the river community. I mean, so what do we do? Well, I want you to take note on this slide. Only 25%, roughly, quarter of what we do is river. The Canyon Rangers are responsible for everything below the rim. So you can see that we cover Phantom Ranch and Indian Garden. So you could see our River Patrol staff just as easily at Indian Garden one day if you're hiking out as you could on the river. We do SAR shift, so I'll get into what that is a little bit more. And then we're patrolling the whole rest of that backcountry. You'll see 25% is just listed as other. Well, that could be anything from archaeological resource monitoring to poaching cases to just honest to God, the training that we do. Most of us are wildland fire qualified. Almost all of us are EMTs, search and rescue, technical rescue, swift water rescue, structural fire, because below the rim, we're it, right? So we have a ton of training to maintain for public safety of all kinds. So a little bit more depth in that. What is education? Well, this is full federal law. We same federal training centers, every other federal agency. Focus is down below our education. I think a lot of enforcement actions can be prevented if people just understand. I think the majority of our visitors are here to appreciate the place, and they want to do the right thing. We do investigation. We do get bad actors out there, and we do get people with theft of resources. And so it's a big piece of it. Visitor safety, that's crimes against people. And not only that, but just protection when people are out of hand down there. And then just all the general enforcement of park regulations and all federal law as it pertains to criminal code, drug code, and conservation codes. So common types of law enforcement for us that we see most frequently. So while we can do all of those things I just mentioned, and right up to Arizona traffic law, this is the stuff we do the most in the Inner Canyon. Okay, so safety of the visitors down below the rim, behavioral crises, and I know we've come in on aircraft for some of you guys for behavioral emergencies amongst your clientele, boating safety and all the regulations there, resource damage and theft, and then permit enforcement for the private permit community. both for the backpackers, of course, and a lot of the backcountry resource protection and monitoring we do is, our crew is specifically skilled for canyoneering, boating, being out for multiple days in the backcountry. And that gives us the capability to get into places where a lot of folks are unable to get. So we tend to monitor use patterns. We tend to monitor archaeological resources and also wildlife resources. We assist science and resource management and anyone else in just accessing. My very first year at Grand Canyon in 2005, I got sent on a 5-day archaeological monitoring project down South Canyon, and there were a couple of sites they just needed help getting to, requiring technical ropes, and so they can call on us to assist with any of that sort of stuff. What you guys, if you contact us, where you might run into us outside of the Phantom Ranch area, the place where you might run into us the most is as the search and rescue coordinator for the day. That's SAR shift. So this is who you're gonna get when you call 911 below the rim for anything. It doesn't matter if you're reporting a fire or you have a medical emergency or it's a law enforcement incident, you're going to get one of the Canyon Rangers. There's two things. Since I have the audience and the opportunity, this is what we need from you. So if you have sketchy satellite phone coverage, if you get those two pieces of information out, where you are and what is wrong, it'll help us triage and figure out rolling, even if the calls keep dropping. You wouldn't believe how much work goes just to get off the ground here to get down to you. We can have that ball rolling immediately if you can just get those two pieces of information out to us. Once we get to you fully staffed, as you guys know, with EMTs and medics and the aircraft, which is capable of short haul, and we can pull people from some remarkable places out there. We can also bring additional resources into you if you have a larger scale incident. So the section of our Canyon District Rangers that pertains the most to you is the River Patrol. So right now, there's specifically just a few folks that out of the Canyon Rangers you're going to meet. So this is Ryan McDonald O'Leary, and Ryan's on a short haul right now in a canyoneering slot. So he's out busy and he's down in the canyon a ton. He has been responsible as much as anybody for helping get this patrol back up and running. And so I'm really proud of Ryan and the work he's doing. He's proven to be a spectacular leader of this program thus far. Dan Hovanek, some of you might have met him over the years. He worked up at Lee's Ferry for a while doing check-in. He's one of our boatmen. Hunter Ham was hired last year, and Hunter comes to us also from the guide community. I guess Dan was a guide back in the day too, but Hunter really recently, in the last 5 to 7 years, he was a manager for a river company in the Southeast. And then there's my face. You'll see me out and about. I've been out with our guys on 2 roads. I'm hoping to see you more and more as the canyon away from much as possible. So over the winter, we did 2 road patrols. We were pretty proud of that because it was the first 2 in 7 years. It was just the 4 of us, and there were only 2 boats. So it wasn't exactly an enormous patrol operation, but we got a ton of work done with some of the stuff we do down there, just the things I mentioned before, the archaeological resource monitoring, checking in with private trips, making sure everybody's doing okay, providing that margin of safety for folks out there. And then also picking up trash, cleaning up campsites, doing whatever needs to be done out there to keep the place in good order for all of us. Over the summer, you're more likely to see one of these boats. Now, the snout there is probably what we're going to run all this summer. Historically, and when I say historically, I mean within the last couple of years, they've been running the patrols with the Achilles, usually 2 boat patrols at a time. And I'm sure most of you guys have seen our Zodiacs out there practicing. And the Zodiacs are mostly for rescue operations. The Achilles are a little bit bigger platform. They allow for a little bit more comfortable multi-day patrols. And then that snout that you see on the right there, we're hoping to have that thing on the water in May and running at least 1 patrol a month out there through October. And then there's everybody else. The river guide I just introduced to you, that's just the river. Those are the guys who are just running the larger boats. The rest of the Canyon Rangers, out of that 15-member staff, we're out there too. So this is me on the left there from a Ducky, and I'm hoping to have that thing back on the water in June. and done a ton of solo patrols out there with that. And it's an incredibly effective tool. Our rangers are also using pack rafts to get from point A to point B. And I'm sure you guys have seen that in recent years. The whole goal of that is to get us out into the rest of the backcountry. It's an enormous place, as you know, and it's very hard for us to be everywhere at once. In fact, it's impossible. So just using the river as that, as one of our speakers termed it yesterday, that alleyway that gets us into the rest of the canyon. It's an incredible highway to get us from point A to point B quickly so that we can cover more ground and protect more of this resource out here. So the point I want to make, I guess, in that is that while we have the 4 folks currently dedicated to river operations, they are part of the greater canyon staff. They're just as likely to be SAR shift or staffing the stations. And in the summertime, they'll be on the river regularly out there with you guys. And then the rest of the canyon staff who is doing all of those things are often on the river. They're either with them in those motor rigs, or they're going to be out there and you'll see them in those small watercraft, getting from point A to point B. But because we can't be everywhere at once, we've got this tip line. And I want you guys to make sure that you have that tip line as well as our dispatch center. So if it's emergent, obviously the dispatch center is your best bet. But if you just want to tell us about something you saw down there that you know is not right, somebody's, graffitiing up something or leaving trash on a beach, that tip line is super handy. And that I realize that it's not real conducive to the use of a spot, but that would be a way to reach us and get us the information that you have to help us protect this place, because we can't be everywhere at once. Sometimes you guys see wrong things going on out there. We could really use some help. So please write that number down. And if you need me to come back to it, I will. And in the meantime, about 1 minute. Well, that's good because it's my last slide. See, this is how good I am. All right, so so there's the river crew and yet another photo. And this is my contact information up top there. And then Ryan, the supervisor for specifically these 2 guys. Hopefully we'll hire 2 more in the fall and build out on that. And that's our crew. Anything else, Emily? Good?
That's great, Lisa. Thanks so much.
Yep, no worries. You guys have a great day and thanks for letting me participate.
Appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. Well, thank you